Hey, motivators, what's going on? Really excited to have you here with us tonight as I sit down live with a guest, which really isn't a guest. It's my family. It's my son. I'm really excited to have him. We'll get to that in a second. I just wanted to thank everyone. We peaked over 1,200 followers this week, which was pretty awesome. And do me a favor, if you see a video, you see a post that you like that we're putting out there, share that. Okay. I love the likes, really appreciate that, but share our posts. And we really appreciate that because we're starting to grow and reach a bunch of folks. I've started sharing on LinkedIn as well. So we're growing a little bit, kind of exponentially. It's pretty impressive because we've only been doing this for about 6 weeks, and we've managed to do a lot of really cool things in this project. And my inbox is starting to fill up pretty fast, and being able to help people one-on-one has been pretty fantastic too. So for those of you that are reaching out to me and want to have those conversations, I am always here. Love to answer your emails, love to answer your text messages. I like to be here for you if I can and help you through things. That's what Motivate's all about. It's about helping each other. It's about being here for each other. It's about, because the fact of the matter is life is a sine wave, and we can't always stay up, right? We can't always stay on the top of that peak, and we have our ups and downs. And when we're in the bottom and we're in that valley, there's always somebody we got to reach out to. So if this page helps you get out of that valley and get back to that peak, then that's really what this is about, is helping each other become better versions of ourselves and helping each other just kind of push through those rough days and stay on top of those really, really good days. All right. So I got Tyler here, my boy, right? Man, this is pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited to have him here. We're going to chat about some things. He is in the Navy. His birthday is a week away, but he's not going to be here next week. Can't tell you where he's going to be, but he's not going to be here, for those of you that know what that means. So anyway, so we decided to do it this weekend because he's under the COVID restrictions just like me, and we stay safe. So I'm able to have him in my home and do this thing face to face because he's my family. So that's pretty awesome too. But so we're going to chat about some things, and really, I'm not going to delve really deep into the Navy piece of what Ty does. But the fact of the matter is, Ty's a leader too. We're all leaders. No matter what we do on a daily basis, when we get up in the morning, we get after stuff. We set an example for everybody who's watching. And as a second-class petty officer like Ty is, he's a leader too. As far as I'm concerned, he was a leader while he was in boot camp. And actually, I think I'm going to ask him a little bit about boot camp. We will get into the Navy stuff, but I want to touch on some personal stuff, some things that he and I experienced and went through together. And then we'll delve into kind of wherever it takes us, right? Because this is organic. All right, so buckle up. Here we go. We're going to start off with a little video, actually. This is going to be a new thing for Motivate with this. So, and by the way, Heather's back in the room. She hasn't been in the room the last couple of days. Say hi, sweetheart. Hey, hey. So she'll be answering. If you want to jump on and text, do some comments. You got to allow StreamYard to access your account. But if you want to jump on and comment, it looks like we have 6 comments already. So jump on there and let's interact too, because that's always been a fun part of some of these videos. But the jam session begins right now. Go ahead, sweetie. Yeah, there we are. So we were talking because our mic was muted during that thing. So
Commercial break.
commercial break. Yeah. So let me give you a little background on Ty, at least with me and him. So I always tell everybody I raised him. His mom and I separated when he was about 10 or 11. And a year later, he came to live with me. And I played single pops, at least for the most part, through that period. So we always say that people come into our lives for a specific reason. And at the time, I was with wife number 2. And, looking back on life, you just kind of go, why was I doing that? Well, God puts people in our path for a reason. And the one thing I could tell you that she absolutely nailed was she said, she came into the living room one day, I'll never forget it, looked me in the face and said, you need to ask Tyler to come live with you this summer. And if you don't, you're just going to be absolutely miserable because you need your kids. Because I actually asked both my kids to come live with me, and Ty decided to come live with me. But she said, if you don't have your kids in your life, then you're going to be absolutely miserable. And so I'm pretty sure that's why she was in my life, because Ty did decide to come live with me after that summer. And it was me and him. And as you can see in that video, and I selected those pictures for a reason, so you could see kind of some of the things that we did as he was growing up, like learn how to change the oil, working on a vehicle, working on a motorcycle. He now owns a Harley, which Heather and I and his mom, because it was his mom, his stepdad's bike. We bought that. We all joined in and bought him a Harley for his graduation gift from high school. So, a lot of that stuff was just kind of, showing them how to cut a Christmas tree, I think was in there, and put a Christmas tree up. So Ty's life, when he came to live with me, was kind of interesting because he was thrown into the Navy thing a little bit harder because I was a senior chief at the time and I made command mast chief, and he's been with me all through that, all through every tour I've made in the Navy as a command mast chief, and trying to just kind of grow up like every other kid does. So, but there's one other thing, Ty. Why don't you? I'll tell you what. Let me share a little bit more about you, because you haven't even talked yet.
No.
And we're 8 minutes in and you haven't talked yet. So let me ask you one question. What was the biggest decision maker for you to come live with me through that process? How tough was that?
Honestly, it's so long ago, I can't even remember. I don't recall actually making a decision. I just remember just kind of doing it.
Yeah.
I don't recall.
Wow. I didn't know that. We've never actually talked about that.
No.
I just hit you with that question because I wanted to hear your voice.
Yeah.
But
it was so long. I mean, I was in 6th grade. It just kind of
he slept many times.
Going with.
Yeah,
I mean,
right?
It was rough. I will say that, because I left one of my best friends in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
He struggled with a lot that first year too, but
yeah.
But it ended up very it ended up being a good decision with everything that's just in life. But also made a best friend in Virginia that following year.
Matt.
No, Wes.
Wes, sorry. Matt was a kid.
His brother.
Yeah.
But
I was thinking the kid next door. What was the kid next door? The kid next door in Wisconsin. What was his name? Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Wes? No. He's 2 doors down.
Yeah. No, in Wisconsin. See?
Oh, Matt.
Yeah, that's who I was talking about. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So, man, I wonder now you're making me think. And again, this is open, right?
Yeah.
So how unfair was that of your dad and your mom? Because we agreed that I was going to ask you that, to ask a 6th grader to make that decision.
I don't think it was unfair. I mean, I understand the decision, like, to make it my decision. I mean, I think ultimately it should be the kid's choice on whether they do it or not.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just force something on them, because at that point it's unwanted.
Right, forcing you to go somewhere, leave your friends,
and you end up resenting them for that. So.
Yeah. Huh. All right. So I I'm gonna go back a little bit further with Ty. Something I really wanted to talk about because it's gonna wrap in why I really was excited to have him on here, and I want to thank you for being so open about this this topic. I'm about to like kind of really tear into your soul here, and there's going to be a lot of people that see this, and this is extremely brave of you, just so you know, because you're being very, very vulnerable here, you know, and in my personal opinion, it's braver to be vulnerable than to be a hard ass, right? So I'm going to share with you something about Ty. Ty didn't start speaking until he was 3. His mom and I weren't really sure if there was anything wrong or if he was just, you know, one of those kids who didn't really want to talk to anybody, or, you know, he didn't have anything important to say. So, you know, 3-year-old does. But anyway, we had him assessed, and it turned out that he had a disorder called dyspraxia. And dyspraxia, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, is it is an all-encompassing disability that has to do with your brain connecting with just about everything in your body, right? So fine motor skills need to be learned in a way that most people, it's just very automatic. Forming ideas and then having them come out of your mouth actually takes effort. It's work. It's hard work. And there's a actually, Heather got you a book, didn't she? Did you ever read that book?
Cajun Chaos.
Oh, so you did read the book.
I did.
Interesting. How about that? I was going to call him out right here on this, Heather, and hold him accountable.
I knew he read it.
We were going to hold him accountable for not reading the book that you got him for Christmas. But so we got him a book, and we learned some things about dyspraxia that we didn't even know. That the challenges. So, you know, here's the thing. So you saw that video. Ty rode a dirt bike when he was a kid. He, you know, can fix things, change his own oil. He played football. I think I got a football picture in that slideshow. He was a wrestler. I know I got one of those pictures. It wasn't a good wrestler. He wasn't a great football player, but, you know, the joke in the household was, because he was a fullback, and the joke in the household was, in high school when they gave him the ball, it was Tyler Isbell up the middle for 1 yard. So that's right. It was better than negative yards. He just fell forward. But yeah. Yeah, I told you we're tearing your heart out here. We're gonna bear you open. So no, but you know, and then singing. I wrote down singing because you are one of the worst singers on the planet, and you sang in choir. Yeah, you have no rhythm, 0 rhythm, right? And part of that is your dyspraxia. It really is your dyspraxia. So talk to me about that challenge in life. Right, because you told me you experience it now, but start with younger, and then let's talk about it as an adult too, right?
So I never really even thought of it as anything, really. It never crossed my mind to be a crutch or anything like that. I just go on through my life.
We didn't treat it that way. None of us. None of nobody who knew of your
Yes, correct.
That youth disability. That's because that's really what it is.
Yes.
You battle with it through your whole life, but we never treated you like you had some issue.
No, I learned how, you know, I'm me, and I just got to work a little harder than everyone else, you know, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
That's all right.
As younger, I mean, I just learned that, you know, some things that came easy to people, I just had to, you know, study or work harder at it, or some things that I think some people had to work on harder, it came easier. I don't know. It was a give or take. As a younger person.
And you were in honors. You were in beta in middle school, which is like junior honor society, and then you achieved honor society in high school.
Yes,
which is something I never did. I was lucky to graduate.
Yes.
So there's that.
I think it also I don't know. It's I don't know. I never really thought about it until later on in life, you know, and like forming of thoughts and stuff like that. How I have to think before I talk and my actions and stuff like that.
Who helped you with that?
Probably the last 8 months. Deployment helped a lot. Right?
Okay.
Just in general.
But what about in your high school years?
High school? You, Heather. Well, I think you. I mean, I think Heather's. You guys
Yeah.
are one. It's a package.
So I
deal.
remember her. Well, I used to tell you to engage your brain.
Yes.
Like teaching you to drive was
Mhm.
the engage your brain, engage your brain, engage your brain. And oh yeah, and running. Oh my, what a flailer you were when we
Not
first.
anymore.
Yeah, you're. I mean, you run every day now,
Mm-hmm.
but man, teaching you how to run, whether it was on your toes or heel toe, or remember that drama?
I do.
Yeah, I mean
do.
that was the dyspraxia. You figuring out how to engage your brain to all the way down there. I will tell you, I remember you as a young, first and foremost, and I don't think I told everyone out here watching. I tell people this all the time. I really believe that Tyler is a better human being than I am. I think that when a parent looks at their kid, realistically, you don't. A parent, especially who has two children, one that's 28 years old and another one that's about to be 26. All you want is for your kids to be better than you are, and there's no doubt in my mind that Ty is a better person than I am. He's got a bigger heart, which has played against him, and but he's just in so many ways a better person than I ever was at 26. And I was a father. I already had this guy running around the house at like 4 or 5 years old. And, so I want you to know that. I want you to know that that's how I feel about you. And I'm saying this publicly. It's going out on the internet, and you can save it and download it and hold it against me later if you want. But it's the truth, man. I really feel that way. So anyway,
Fast forward.
yeah, fast forward out of high school. You said you wanted to talk about the Navy stuff. I was talking about how
That's
you helped, but yeah, we already got there, right? I think we got there, right, honey?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's fast forward in how the last 8 months has helped you, right? So Ty, tell them what just happened over the last 8 months, because there might be some people watching that don't know that you're just a salty sailor.
I don't know about that, but go back for 8 month deployment, unlike no other. Literally didn't hit any ports, just out to sea. It was challenging. Being around the same people for 8 months, not getting any really time off. I mean, you got some time, like here and there, a day maybe, to kind of decompress, but not really, because you still were on the ship.
How many days?
206 days.
Straight.
Over half a year. It was interesting, and you learn what your weaknesses are and your strengths are real quick. And patience is a must, and I did not have it going in at all. I mean, I still trying to get there, but you learn real quick what you should say, what you can't say. What you can always say anything, but what you should say is another thing. This is just with life. But
careful. You're starting to sound like a mature young man. You sound like you're ready to be a leader. That's what that sounds like to me. That was awesome.
Well, a lot of it had to do, my chief had a lot to do with it, right? And my buddy of mine that I work with as well, they got me through a lot of deployment as well, and they helped me out because I also went through some stuff in personal life. I've only had one like real serious relationship, and it kind of ended towards the end of deployment. I won't ever change that relationship. Or ever.
You don't regret it?
No, I don't regret it at all.
Yeah.
Because I learned a lot of things from that relationship, like thinking before I say things, right? engage that brain.
Engage your brain,
Before I
right?
say those things, and I learned a lot, even from her as well. She taught me a lot about myself and what I should do. I won't ever change that. And I'll always love her for that. But things happen, and it is what it is.
So you said that part of that, was the engaging of the brain, and
Mm-hmm.
you still kind of struggle with that, and it was a bit of a roadblock. It was a
Yes,
hurdle.
it
was a
was.
hurdle.
Very much, even in relationships,
And
in personal and professionally.
And okay, so was she aware of who you are and how you struggle with that?
She did, but I don't think she ever grasped it. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think anyone really grasps it, and
Do you-
I don't. Because
You
I
don't
also
tell anybody
I
because you
really
don't treat
tell
it
anyone.
like a crutch,
Correct.
right? Because I was going to ask you, does your chain of command know this? Right? Do they know that?
I think I brought it up like once, maybe. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like a serious conversation.
Well, this isn't something where you walk in and go, "Hey, Chief, I gotta tell you," and they're expecting you to tell you that you're an alcoholic or something, and, that you robbed a bank over the weekend, and So I'm speaking from experience, but not that I ever robbed a bank, but people come in and tell me things, and what about? So you're. We're not going to keep everyone too long today. This has been a lot of fun. We're going to keep talking, but there's one more note on here that I wanted to ask you. So you're working on your enlisted surface warfare specialist. It's a pin that, for everybody that's not in the military watching, it's a pin that we wear, and Ty has not gotten it yet. And,
yes, we know.
And this is something that I beat him up on a regular basis about getting. He's on a ship where he can achieve both enlisted surface warfare and enlisted air warfare specialist. And he's getting ready to transfer in a few short months. And time is running short. He's been there 2 years and he doesn't have his pin yet. So is this something that's gotten in the way? I mean, honestly, you and I even haven't really dug deep on this. We haven't had this talk. Right. So do you think that, like, when you go before a board and you can't engage your brain, that makes it just that much more difficult?
I get frustrated with myself.
Okay.
So when I don't answer a question correctly, I get frustrated with myself and I almost shut down, because then I second guess myself on the next question and I don't answer it confidently. I believe that the next question isn't the correct answer.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of down. Same thing with tests. If the previous question I don't think it was right, I kind of look at the next question like, is that really right?
Oh, now you start to, every question thereafter,
It's
you start to second guess yourself and you question, and it's a downhill.
Yes.
It's a self-feeding, self-defeating attitude.
Yes.
Okay. So now you're self-aware.
Yes.
You're self-aware.
Yes.
And what do you do with being self-aware?
Still learning.
Yeah. Do you own that shit though? I mean, like, see, this is
yeah,
right where I go from being is to dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And are you owning that shit? Are you like, all right, got it. I need to stop with this self-defeating attitude.
I'm still learning.
Okay.
I have to be completely honest. I don't think I've completely learned that yet. Trying. Hopefully get this damn board out of the way in this next 2 weeks.
And your dad off your back.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
And then on the air. And also, I gotta get this Pat Soup board out of the way.
Okay.
But,
quals. I love quals.
That's
the only reason I stay off your back, because every time I hit you with ESWAS, you start talking about professional development quals that are inside your rating, and I go, okay, all right, because it's important.
I was having, actually, that's probably more of a struggle for me. This last deployment was trying to do my patrol supervisor board. I tried it 3 times now. Kind of just, and that's where that tunnel kind of led. I would second guess myself on the previous question, and it just kind of downhill spiral.
Okay.
So.
All right. Okay, so let's get off of that and just spend a couple minutes before we wrap this up. Let's talk about where you want to be. Where do you see yourself?
Woo!
Yeah, I hit you with the surprise question. Where do you see yourself? I'll tell you what, I hit you with 10 years from now.
Honestly, I do not know. Because a lot of it's going to have to depend on the next 3.5 years at this next command. About to go base police. How I like that aspect of my job and my actual job, right? As a master arms, I mean that's kind of the bread and butter of our actual job, and whether I could see myself doing outside of the Navy, or if I do fall, because going from PRP to the ship, it's been very arduous duties, and I'm very burnt out.
So what'd you do at PRP? What's PRP? So that people that
Yeah.
are watching.
It's a nuclear weapon security. Doesn't sound as glamorous as it sounds. You station Marines and stand on a tower for 12 to.
So what are you doing though?
15
What's the
hours.
mission? Tell people what the mission is, because the mission is glorious.
It's to protect our nuclear weapons. I mean, that's what it is.
Like the actual missiles.
Yes.
So you've actually seen a nuclear missile.
Yes. I mean,
You've
Since
moved,
I-
helped,
yeah.
you've guarded
Yes,
nuclear
I'm-
weapons while they've been moved.
yes.
That's pretty glorious.
Very cool.
You see his face, right? That's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty important. I get that the actual day in and day out, the grind.
Mhm.
But all right, so I'm again shifting. I don't know if I'm in is mode right now with the motivation or whatever, but you know, the reward is always filled with days that are just the grind. The grind is where you make your money, right? I'm going to tell you, everybody here, the grind is where you make your money. The grind is where you succeed. Success is in failure. I say this all the time. Every time you fail, what you do with that failure defines who you are and how successful you're going to be in life. So it's the same thing with any other job. When the job becomes a grind, what you do with that grind, how you get after the day in and day out monotony is really going to define what kind of person you're going to be, what kind of success you're going to pull out of this. That is what it's about, right? So Ty gave me that opportunity with this because I kind of knew how he felt about PRP. I know how he felt about the leadership there. And yeah, I can see it in your face already. You need to work on that. You need to work on that. I got that advice from somebody once. So you come by that honestly. So now you're in this job and you're still not quite getting after. So Ty's law enforcement in the military as a master at arms, and now you're going off to actually do law enforcement on a base, and now you want to figure out what's next.
I think also to go back a little bit. So PRP, I hit the ground running. I got fully qualified. I did everything I got to do by far within like the first year and a half. Ended that with really not so good leadership.
I'm going to dig into that. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Not good leadership. And then I went to the ship, and it was almost the exact opposite. I dragged my feet right on a lot of my quals and stuff like that. I ended up getting them, a lot of them. And then, but I had great leadership. So I don't know what, maybe because PRP kind of burnt me out. I don't still trying to realize what happened there. But only way I can really move on is just kind of learn from that and just kind of.
Every day is a new day.
Yeah.
Every beauty that I tell everyone all the time when they're in the Navy that it's like being in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
You move every 2 or 3 years. You reinvent yourself every time you go to a new place, and you kind of get a fresh start all the time. So, but the thing that you do take with you, and I've seen this in you, and I see it in the sailors that I work with, in all the commands I've been to, is if you have bad leadership, it is that much harder to recover. Even when you have good leadership following it, it's very hard to recover. And I watched it with you, and it hurt my heart. It hurt my heart. I can't tell you how many times I've stood in front of a chief's mess and said, be the leader that sailors deserve. I want you to be the leader that I want to lead my son. I use you all the time. You know that. You're like my prop. My son's a second-class petty officer. So, but yeah, it's tough because you're tainted.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the well's tainted, and you somehow have to figure a way to filter you, not the bad leader. You need to find a way to filter that well because it's your life, not that leader. Right? Obviously, they didn't care. So you got to figure a way to move forward and make that better because you got to own your life. The reason I asked you about 10 years later,
Charlotte has a question
Charlotte has a question.
for Tyler. Do you feel more pressure to live up to your name, as in folks knowing your dad is a CMC?
No, not at all. I it's not I brought up very often actually. I mean, I get hard time for it all the time. If anything, it's more hard time. But I don't feel pressure at all. I try and make my name for myself.
Yeah.
You know.
So I wanted to. I'm
That's the
glad.
reason I don't
That's
really.
a great question, Charlotte. Thanks for bringing that up. I actually had an example that I wanted to talk about, and because you asked that question, it reminded me of this question or of this instance. So Ty left for boot camp while I was still deployed. I was on the New York at the time, and he had no idea that I was going to screen for Recruit Training Command to be the command master chief up there when he left for boot camp. And I remember him telling me, "Hey, Dad, I really want to."
I knew.
Not you knew in boot camp. You found out in boot camp
Did I?
because the
Not
chaplain
beforehand.
slipped and
Your
asked.
mother told you.
Oh,
No, the
that's what-
chaplain slipped and asked him if his dad wore two stars.
Yeah, it was the chap.
So can I finish? We're
Sorry.
live here, people.
Sorry.
Can I finish the story? I mean,
We're
seriously.
having a family
I'm going to kick everybody out and do this by myself.
We're not in a mess.
So the story goes the way I remember the story, and I'm pretty sure people are going to interject. So Ty tells me he wants to go to boot camp and make E3 out of boot camp.
Mhm.
And I said, well, and even I was like, all right, good luck, bro. You know, I mean, having been in RDC, there's just a select few that get selected out of each boot camp graduation class, and it's up to the RDC to pick. So in the meantime, I'm on deployment. I screen for Recruit Training Command, get selected as the command master chief. Ty finds out through boot camp the chaplain slipped, and then I think your mom did tell you towards the end of boot camp. So he never told anyone in his boot camp. He didn't tell his RDCs. He did tell the company or the division, but he didn't tell his RDCs. When his RDCs found out who he was, he took a beating for it, actually, in boot camp. Samira Carney, this might get to you. She's now a command master chief herself and doing fabulous stuff in the fleet. But Samira pulled him into the office and asked him, basically beat him and asked him if he thought he was going to get special treatment. When you told me that story, I'm thinking, well, if he wanted special treatment, he could have, mentioned me 6 weeks ago, right? Because you were either post battle stations or close to battle stations at that time.
Mhm.
And he took his beating and stood up and basically, what did you say?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Tell the folks who aren't in the Navy what taking a beating means.
Oh, taking a beating is push-ups, sit-ups.
I never took
It's a yeah. She said you took you told me she beat you.
No, she never beat me. Not like that. She never beat me like that.
No push-ups.
No.
She just made you clean the head a lot.
Well, that was my job.
Yeah. So
It was
what was
head
your job in the Navy? In
In boot camp, it was head PO. I was like in charge of the head.
You were the glorious
bathroom.
head PO.
Yeah, in charge of the bathroom.
So now I had this great story and you ruined it.
Oh, I'm
I thought
sorry.
you took a beating.
No,
for
I never
it.
took a beating for that. Remember, you can't do that.
What? Take a beating?
For your
RDCs can beat a recruit because they look stupid.
No, but I never took a beating for that.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
kidding about the looking stupid thing, by the way. Sorry.
Yeah.
You and I, we get the joke. All right. Well, there's the story. So Ty, so the end of the story, really, the moral of the story is Ty cleaned heads, didn't tell anybody his dad was a command master chief, and he did get advanced out of boot camp because his division was a Hall of Fame division, and if the head wasn't clean and they took a bunch of hits in the head, they wouldn't have gotten the Hall of Fame. So.
Real quick,
Tyler Isbell up the middle for a yard there. Anyway,
real quick. Chad Smith said poor leaders still allow you to build your toolbox. Put those tools aside and use them when absolutely needed. Fantastic.
Yeah, I had a couple of those when I was. So I will say this, and you and I've had this talk, right? You can't judge someone if you've never done their job, right? So you don't know what it's like to be a chief. A chief knows what it's like to be a second class. They may have forgotten a little bit, but they do know deep down they do. And but good leadership, and if you don't get what you need when you need it, then that's poor leadership. So anyway. That's great, Chad. We appreciate that, man. All right. Well, was there anything else?
They were laughing at us having our family moment.
Oh, we were having the family.
And I get to tell you, we're not in a mess.
All right. Well, so it is a Saturday, and football is on, and I appreciate everybody watching us. Ohio State starts back up in a month, and there's no way in hell I'm going to be doing these videos when there's an Ohio State game on. Right. So we really appreciate you watching this with us. Anything else you wanted to say?
Wanted to see a headlock, I think.
You wanted to see a headlock?
Oh.
I hit him in the beginning. So you notice how far away he's sitting from me, right? And okay, so look, thanks for watching us today. Thanks for joining us. To me, this was really special just to get Ty on here. And I really appreciate Ty. That was really brave of you to kind of get out there and talk about overcoming an obstacle. It really wasn't military related. I wasn't planning on talking all Navy stuff with you. I appreciate the fact that you were able to accomplish the things you did. And even to this day, you don't use something like that as a crutch. You are self-aware, and that is huge, especially for a young person like yourself. Now it's a matter of putting things into practice.
Yes.
And it's a struggle for all of us.
Yes.
You're 26, I'm 46, and I still struggle with putting things that I am self-aware about into practice. It is something that we just need to work on a daily. So, hey, for everybody out there, thanks for joining us. Again, don't forget to share the video if you like it. Share our posts. Follow us on Twitter, @ismotivate, and check us out on YouTube. And you'll find some stuff on my LinkedIn as well. So Sean D. Isbell on LinkedIn. Love you. Mean it. Fill that cup up. Motivate.